Hello all, welcome back to software testing course. So in the last video we had seen the introduction part, right? That is the power of software, challenges in the software projects and few of the software fiascos. So today we will get started with the reasons for software failure. Okay, fine. So every project is taken with great expectations, and during execution, somewhere, somehow things go out of hand and the project end up as a big failure. So, if we start listing the reasons for the projects, like the failures of the projects, so we will end up with hundreds of reasons why the project has been failed, right? So, main or important software failure reasons are the four ones, that is people, technology, time and money. Okay, now we will see how these four things are related to software failure. The first one is people, how people are related to software failures. What is the problem with people so that the project will fail or your software will fail? So the lack of quality consciousness, lack of proper communication, lack of interpersonal skills, the personal behavior and lack of professional ethics are the main reasons that are related to people. So, because of that, the software will fail. Okay. The second one is technology. So, sometimes the focus shifts from the user requirements to the technology. So, excessive fascination towards introducing new technologies, it will lead to lot of problems while implementation. For example, say the company, it is developing a project and they have introduced a new technology and people are not aware of it, so how it will cause to software failure? So, like for example, if the new technology is introduced, the people have to be trained for that technology. They should they should be aware like what is going on and how these technologies can be used. So if they can't cope up with the new technology, then obviously the software will fail. The third one is time. So due to the market pressures, the organization they try to compress the development time so that the target it becomes unrealistic, and it will lead to the overworked engineers or the people who in the later stages of the project somehow they want to get rid of the project rather than bring out a quality product. So for this, let us take a real time example. Okay, as a lecturer, I will give you some assignment and I will be selecting a deadline. Okay, say suppose that on the day of the deadline or just before that. So as a your lecturer is going on a leave. So what the lecturer will do is like they'll reduce your timeline to submit the assignment. Okay, so you have say suppose out of 10 days, initially it was 10 days to submit the assignment, then the lecturer says you have only 3 days to submit it. So you have a time crunch now. So as a student you will be under the pressure, right? So you will be under pressure and you will the thing what comes to your mind is like you just have to complete the assignment no matter what you write, how you write. You will not even bother about the quality of the assignment, or you know you just you want to get rid of that particular assignment and you just have to submit. The same thing applies here in the software development. If the time, if the time is development time, if it is reduced, then the developers or testing time is reduced, then the testers they just somehow they want to get rid of the project. Like they'll finish the project, they'll not think about the quality of that particular project, and this might lead to the failure. The last one is money. So, at the time of initially estimating the project cost, we might make mistakes, particularly when we are working on new technologies. So, it is because at the beginning we do not know enough the details to estimate correctly. So, once the budget is given, the project must be completed within that particular budget itself. Otherwise, it will be declared as a failure. Okay. So now these four are the basic reasons for a software to fail. Now, a project is considered as a failure if the quality of the software is not delivered, or if the project is not completed within time, or if the project is not completed within the budget. Then what could be the solution for this one, right? So just now we had seen the problems, like why the software will fail, maybe because of the wrong estimation, or budget overrun or the time overrun, right? The software engineers and the project managers have two choices whenever there is a failure of the project: to live with the same painful process, or to develop a process where the software development will be more fun and challenge. So, to make the software development a fun filled challenge, a creative activity is needed that contributes to the better quality of life and intellectually satisfying the job that makes the world better place to live in. So, there is only one solution for this, that is a systematic and disciplined approach to the software development. So, the managing software projects in a highly competitive environment with fast changing technologies and shortage of the skilled workforce has become the biggest challenge for all the software organizations. Then what are the secrets of success then, right? The project team has to make sure the project is a success, but what are the secrets to it? The secrets for the success are: every employee in the organization, they should be committed to the software quality assurance. Okay, so they should not compromise on the quality of the project. Quality is the first important thing for the success. Next, the product must be tested thoroughly. If you feel that there are some bugs, you need to report it. You just need not, or you should not keep mum while there is a bug. Okay, so the product or your software project has to be tested thoroughly. The last one is every individual must follow a code of ethics and professional practice. So you already know what is ethics and professional practice, so you have seen you have seen in your last semesters and all. We will again study these things in the last chapter. Now let us concentrate on what are the solutions. So there are three solutions, that is software quality assurance, then software testing and code of ethics. So now we will discuss this one by one. The first one is software quality assurance. If we want to deliver the quality software as per the customer requirements, we need to be quality conscious throughout. I mean, from the beginning of the project to its completion, we should be quality conscious. So we already know how to divide the software development activity, right? So it will be divided into number of phases such as your requirements, design, coding, testing, and maintenance. So we can deliver a quality product to the customer only when we are quality conscious in every phase of development. From the requirement analysis till the maintenance phase, we should be concerned about the quality. So this quality consciousness, it should be there in each and every person who is associated with the project. Maybe he is the CEO, he is the manager, or he is the developer. All the people who are associated with the project, from your CEO till the programmers, they should be quality conscious. Even one or few persons take that thing easy, quality assurance thing as easy, then your quality of the project would be compromised. So this quality software quality assurance, it addresses the various mechanisms to be implemented to prevent defects in the software. SQA, that is your quality software quality assurance, it encompasses all the phases of development. It is applicable to all types of projects, and it addresses all the people associated with the project, including your management. So in software development organizations, there will be a separate software quality assurance department. The person working in this department will check whether the development teams are following the quality norms that are defined by the organization. So in small organization, what will happen is there might not be a separate software quality assurance department, but At least one or few people are assigned for this SQA responsibilities. So to develop the quality product, the quality has to be ensured in each and every phase of development. Now, this quality SQA, software quality assurance, it addresses the various mechanisms to be implemented during your different phases of development. So, this is about your quality assurance. Remember, this quality assurance is a separate team which will be present in a project or in the organization, and they will be checking whether the project is following the norms that are developed by the organization or not. Okay. The next one is software testing. So even though we ensure the quality at every stage of the development, we need to put special emphasis on the testing phase. Why? Because in spite of the best efforts by the quality assurance engineers and your development engineers, there might be defects, or many of the defects might be there, and they are still waiting to be uncovered in the software. So in the testing phase, we need to rigorously test the software and find out as many as bugs possible, so that we can confidently deliver the quality product to the customer. As because testing is the most important phase in the development, the organizations are setting up separate teams, that is, separate testing groups, whose job is to only test the software developed by different groups. The test engineers specialize in testing. So if you think it is very easy to point out other guys' problems, so that is not the easy thing. Okay, testing is difficult. So it is a highly specialized activity. The testing professionals need to have a special skills, and they need to learn many tricks of trade. So every organization is now having a lot of thirst to the testing team. So how many people are involved in testing? So of course this differs from type of the project. So if for example, if we take Microsoft corporation, the ratio of developers to the test engineers is 1 is to 1. That means if there is one developer, then there is one tester. But in NASA, okay, so the ratio is like 1 is to 7. That is, for every development engineer, there are 7 testing engineers or testers. For mission critical applications involving the safety and security of the people, like medical, nuclear, transportation, space, etc., these projects, the testing teams would be pretty big. Okay. Next, we will talk about code of ethics. So some software engineers, out of their ignorance, they do illegal things. Illegal things, for example, so you may come across an engineer who sends the code written by him to a friend working in another organization. So, which is a rule breaking. Okay. The person might not be aware that the code written by an employee is the intellectual property of the employer, and it cannot be shared with the others just like that. Now, this ignorance can cost him his job. He might lose his job. In some other cases, some software engineers, out of fear towards their employer, they do unethical things. Suppose you are testing the software for a medical equipment, and that will be used in ICU of the hospital. Okay, if this is an example, say the software still has bugs, but the manager, he asks you, he will ask you to declare, or he'll say that just declare the software is okay, the software can be delivered. So what will you do in this situation? You know that the device which you are testing, it has bugs, and it will be used in the ICU of the hospital. And if you will not, your manager is giving you, threats saying that the time has been completed, and you have to, at any cost, you have to say that the testing has been completed and the software is working properly. What will you do in this situation? If you say that the software is okay, you may kill a patient. And if you say that the software is not okay, you might lose your job, right? You are in a dilemma. So, what to do in this situation? So, your code of ethics that provides you the guidelines based on which you can take the decision based on what you think which is morally correct. So, every software engineer has to realize that they are significantly contributing for the betterment of the society, and for improving the quality of life. So they have responsibility towards the society, and the software developed by them should be of high quality. Otherwise, it may result in loss of money or loss of time, or even most importantly loss of lives. So, keeping in view the important role played by the software engineers as professional, the ACM and IEEE, they have developed code of ethics and professional practice. So every software engineer involved in development, testing, management, or any related functions must follow this code. This code helps you in understanding what is ethical and what is unethical in your profession. The code of ethics is for all persons involved in all the aspects of development, right? That means your programmers, test engineers, managers, and even us who teach the software. All of us should follow the code of ethics. Getting it? Next, we will talk about software testing professionals, right? What are their skill sets? What are their tasks and all? So, software testing professionals are now becoming glamorous people because they do a professional job in a specialized area and they are in great demand. The command, they command lot of respect even by the development engineers and make lot of money. So, however, they achieve this status. To achieve this status, you need to really work hard. As you can see from the diagram, the test engineers they have to interact with many other groups in a project to carry out their work, such as the analyst, developer, software quality assurance team, and project leaders and the managers. So, the fundamental requirement of a test engineer is to have good interpersonal skills. Okay, now we will talk about the skill sets for testing professionals. What are the skills a testing professional should have? So, the first one is the good understanding of the quality assurance and quality management standards such as CMMI, that is Capability Maturity Model Integration. Next, you should have a thorough knowledge on the testing process. What is the beginning? What is the end? Then, what are the different types of testing, methods of testing? How do you design a test case? How do you execute them? So, these are knowledge you should have to become a testing professional. Next, you should have a hands-on expertise in testing tools. Even if you know manual testing, you'll be in a great demand if you know the testing tools. Next, you should have a knowledge in the application area, that is the domain knowledge, whether you are working in a healthcare, telecommunication, financial, whatever the domain may be. You should have a basic understanding on what you are working. Okay. Next, you should have excellent communication and interpersonal skills with the ability to effectively inform the bad news. The bad news is nothing but the bugs in your software. Now you have to effectively communicate these bugs to the developers. Next, you should have a good documentation skills to document the test scripts, test results, and test reports. This is very important. Next, you should have good listening skills. So, you should be open to the other members of the groups. Okay, so you should listen effectively from them, let them talk. Suppose if you have the bug in the project, whenever you communicate that to a developer, listen to them first what they are telling, like whether it is actually a bug or what is the thing. Okay. Next, the art of learning fast new techniques and technologies. So this is important. Why? Because as the technology is growing and new techniques are coming in, we should not be outdated, so we should match the latest trends. The last one is a good understanding of the code of ethics and professional practice. Next, we will talk about the tasks that will be handled by the testing professionals. Many young software engineers think that testing is not a creative job, but it is a contrary, that testing is a very creative and challenging work. The test engineers need to understand the application, study the software functionality in detail to find out where the bugs are likely to occur, They have to study the code to ensure that each and every line of code is tested. They have to create test cases in such a way that the testing is done rigorously to uncover all the hidden bugs and also to ensure that the software is usable and reliable. Okay, and now these all things whatever we discussed has to be done very fast. The test engineers are basically given very less time in the whole life cycle of product development, and this is the truth. Okay, so what are the tasks handled by testing professionals? So the first one is understand the application domain. The software, whatever the it is getting developed, maybe a client server based database management system, or it can be a telecommunication software, healthcare software, or it can be a basic website as well. So in your career as a test engineer, you may have to test the software of various application domain. You cannot restrict yourself to a single domain. Okay, so before starting the testing, you need to understand the application from end user point of view. You need to be very fast learner of the application domain. Okay, the next one, learn about the development environment. So based on the application and the end user needs, the development environment varies. The operating system might vary. It can be Windows, Unix, Solaris, and the programming language can be C++, Java, Python. Okay, so some special tools would have been used to develop the software, such as database engines, cross compilers, etc. So you need to have a flair to work on different development environments. You cannot say no. Okay, so even if you don't know any of this, I mean, whatever the project you are working in and you don't know some of the tools, learn it, use it, and do the testing. Next, learn how to use the application. Now, the test engineers, they have to assume that they are the actual end users and they have to run the application to get the feel of how the software works. If if you do the testing in this way, then only you will be in a position to generate the test cases and also create the automated test procedures. Okay, so you should always keep in mind that you should test the software or the project as a end user. Next one, to study the source code. If the test engineer is asked to validate the source code also, they have to study the source code based on which the test case generation can be done. This is basically the white box testing. We will see these things in the coming chapters. Okay, so the next task would be study the requirement specifications document. Very important, right? The requirements document, the SRS, your SRS, okay? It gives the functional, performance, reliability requirements of the software. The software has to be tested for all these requirements. So you should be eagle-eyed and look for the details while studying the specifications and check whether each requirement can be tested or not. If your SRS document says that transaction response should be very fast, it does not mean anything, right? If the functionality it is saying the transaction response should be very fast, how fast it has to be? 1 second, 2 second, how much? So you need to tell the person who wrote the specifications that the response time should be indicated. Okay, specifically, the time has to be mentioned like 1 second, 2 seconds, or whatever. So then only you can test this performance requirement. Next one, study the acceptance test procedure. So for every project, an acceptance test procedure document has to be developed. And these documents give the test plan based on which the customer or your client, they will validate the software. The test engineers need to carry out the testing as per this document. Now this document has to be prepared by the development team and the testing team in association with your client representative. Okay. Next one, you have to test innovatively. Okay, so while testing the software in minimum possible time to uncover maximum possible bugs, so you have to be innovative. So this can be done by designing the test cases innovatively, and if you are using tools, make efficient use of them. Next one is report the test result. So you have to report the test results to the development team. So this has to be done very carefully because no developer they'll be in a position to hear that there are bugs in the software. So here your interpersonal communication will come into picture. Next, contribute to the organization's growth. The bottom line is to help your organization to grow, right? Your contribution as a test engineer to the quality of the software would help in customer satisfaction, which in return leads to more business for the organization. The last one is be proud of your work. So many test engineers feel that they are doing only testing and not the coding. Now, testing is a respectful job as coding. In fact, organizations are giving equal importance and value to the test engineers like your development engineers. Only when you feel that you are involved in the important work, you can do a good job. Okay, that's it for today. We'll conclude our session. Thank you.